Welcome, everybody. It's the Monday edition of Check-In. The Winnipeg Jets are in Chicago to take on the Chicago Blackhawks. Sara Lesky will be joining us live from Chicago here momentarily. She's at the United Center right now. Jonathan Toews just stepped to the podium about 10 minutes ago to have his news conference with Chicago and Winnipeg media about his return to Chicago. It's a special day, January 19th. He wears number 19. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you as well, DR24. Sara is just taking it in right now. We have her sit down with Jonathan Toews, which you can see on the Winnipeg Jets YouTube channel, but you'll be able to see that here live momentarily. And we'll also have some highlights from the Toews news conference in Chicago a little bit later in the show. Kevin Sawyer from TSN will join us as well with his thoughts on the Jets' past 5 games, which they have points in 5 of those. And, of course, the reunion of Jonathan Toews in Chicago. I remember a few years ago in his final game against for the Chicago Blackhawks and the emotions that spilled out over there. I can only imagine what it's going to be like tonight. I read an article on NHL.com about numerous members of those Chicago Blackhawks Stanley Cup winning teams. And yes, I am unsupervised. And this is very dangerous, but there's not enough bells and whistles for me to get in trouble without Sara being here. So unfortunately, this won't be as fun as you think it will be without Sara being around. But hearing respective members of those 2010, 13, and 15 Stanley Cup winning teams about just how great of a player Jonathan Toews was and how much the city of Chicago loved him. So we will see full on TSN3 tonight. And if you're listening to the game on CJOB or Power 97, you'll get to hear that as well, the appreciation that Blackhawks fans in the city of Chicago have for Jonathan Toews. And I have really appreciated and come to appreciate how much he's enjoying his time here, especially with the Jets playing a little bit better as of late with points in 4 of their last 5 games. Sarah's just logging here momentarily. Going back to Saturday and the loss of the Maple Leafs, that, my friends, was as disappointing as it gets, especially with a 3-1 lead in the third period. And it looked like the Jets were in control, especially when Nino Niederreiter ends his 21-game goalless streak with a Nino-type goal, fighting off a defender, gets a rebound, puts it in. I think the Jets are in control at 3-1 at that point, but that was not the case. We will discuss this with Sara Lesky, who looks to be in prime position right now inside. Oh, no, she gave me the one finger. She said, wait a second. But going back to the Leafs game on Saturday, you think about where the Jets were, and they had Toronto, and then, of course, the Leafs fight back, tie the game up, and win in overtime. A turnover in the neutral zone leads to a 2-on-run rush. Austin Matthews to Max Domi. But if you think about how close the Jets came on a couple of occasions, especially in the first period, Kyle Connor goes double doink off the crossbar and on the post. That looked to be a goal. Even the goal song was playing at that point. And then in the third period, it looked like the Jets, when the game was tied at 3, and on the power play, Mark Scheifele takes a shot. Dennis Hildeby makes a save. The rebound comes to Toews. Toews looks like he has the open net, and it goes off the crossbar again. So, they were that close to winning that hockey game. And I talked to Josh Morrissey, or he was part of the scrums afterwards, and he had said that he thought it was in from his vantage point. Obviously, it wasn't. So without further ado, joining us from the United Center, because she can never leave me unsupervised for too long, it is Sara Lesky joining me in the play. What a nice location you have right now, Sara. That's so nice. So Jonathan Toews at the podium moments ago. That's why you were delayed to what you were trying to do here. Kevin Sawyer will be joining us along here momentarily. Just was there a lot of media, obviously, is the question, ready to hear what Jonathan Toews had to say?
You're right. I can't leave you alone for very long with it. I even sent through a rundown. I'm listening. I go, that's not what we were going to start with.
No.
Look at you going.
You weren't here, so then I just did what I wanted.
know.
Yeah.
100%, as you should. As you should. Me. If I can't show up for the start of a show, then you do what you want to do. So there's probably about 20 media, I'd say 16, 20 media that were in his press conference that he had. And so certainly it hasn't been a typical day, obviously. You come in and there's a different sort of energy around this. Everybody is here. They're really only interested in speaking to one person. And that would be Toews. So it was set up by the Jets that he would be sitting at a table and be taking it in a press conference style, as opposed to going into the dressing room as we usually would to speak to a player, just because of the interest and the number of cameras that would be involved in it as well. And we'll be able to have, because it just ended, and Scott O'Neill is just speaking as well. I ducked out of his availability. So we will have sound coming to you later on in this show. from Toews' presser. But no surprise, he talked about he was asked about the return here, the emotions that go along with it, what he expects from the fans. Does he see any similarities between himself and Connor Bedard and the scenario that he is in right now? And so it was interesting. It lasted for about 10 minutes. And you know what? I think that if there's one thing that I've noticed so far, just even from the interview that we put out with Toews yesterday to today, that the Chicago fans, I'll be interested to see exactly what the reaction is like here, but you can tell how much love there is for the captain, and what a weekend it has been, Jamie, or a few days for Chicago fans. I mean, everything from on Saturday night, they celebrated the Stanley Cup era. So a number of former players, including Dustin Byfuglien, Andrew Ladd, who were part of the 2010 Cup winning team, they were in town, so they were celebrated. Then yesterday, as you can imagine, all of downtown Chicago was at a standstill, as I'm sure all of the suburbs were as well, with the fact that it was the Rams and Bears game going on, and then this game here tonight. So it's it's quite the time to be in Chicago right now for the sports scene.
Not to be critical of the Blackhawks. So you're celebrating your Stanley Cup era in the 10, 13, and 15. And who was your captain during those 3 Stanley Cups? So I'm curious why they didn't wait till tonight, because he's coming in. I mean, I imagine it would be a little bit more of a distraction, but imagine how cool that would have been to have Dustin Byfuglien and Andrew Ladd in the building at the same time as Jonathan Toews when the Jets are in town.
Oh, well, I mean, selfishly, yes, that would have been.
Yeah.
That's
like,
really
I'm not trying to tell people to do their jobs, but these are like, right. It seems like you just have one more game, 2 more nights to wait, and there he is, the captain.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
The guy that raised the Stanley Cup 3 times, he's in the building because he's playing. So
yeah. So, but you know what? At least it coincided enough that he was able, when the team landed yesterday, he was able to go out with several of the guys for dinner that were still in town. And I know that there's a number of them that are staying for the game here tonight. We're going to have Brian Bickle's going to join us on the first intermission of the TSN broadcast, just to talk about time. So it'll be, but you walk around, I mean, you see pictures of Toews here, you see his name engraved. They've got right outside of their dressing room. And I posted a picture on my Instagram that they've got, it looks like a cup ring around it. And so they have all of the names engraved in there of the players that won the 3 cups. So there's certainly, even though times have very much changed, there's no doubt that his fingerprint is still on this organization and in this arena.
One of the coolest parts of the United Center for people that have never been, well, have not been in the newsroom, is that they have all these newspaper articles or front covers up on the wall. It was all the Chicago Bulls titles. Obviously, there's 6 of those, 3 Chicago Blackhawks ones. I'm not sure if those are there anymore, but it's a really cool newsroom in that aspect. But I'm pretty sure it'll be electric inside the building. United Center usually brings it, of course, with the anthem and everything. And they were really loud when Patrick came back, I believe, last season with the Red Wings. And of course, Patrick Kane ended up scoring in overtime on a breakaway to give the Red Wings the win. The building went bonkers, even though it was Detroit scoring. I'm not sure how that will be, but considering how well Jonathan Toews is playing right now, I think there's a strong chance he's going to be able to put his name on the score sheet in front of the Blackhawks fans here this evening.
Well, I think that, there's the part of us that, just in terms of storylines and kind of storybook, that you wish that his 900th point had come here at the United Center, and that he was, is continuing his goal scoring streak. But yeah, I think, talking to some of the local media here, they also are intrigued as to what sort of reception it is and how it compares to the Kane one. Because if you remember, Patrick Kane was traded in season, and so there wasn't the opportunity to say the goodbye, whereas Toews did have a very emotional goodbye in his final game that he played here at the United Center. The ovations that the fan gave him was unbelievable.
Yes.
And he's spoken about that a number of times, and he did today as well. So a couple of the media members had said that there's no doubt that it will be 11 tonight for him, but they're intrigued to see whether or not how it compares and differs to the Kane one, just because it was a different scenario in which the 2 of them left.
Hey, listen, you're on the road, and not only for us, Winnipeg Jets, but also for TSN. It's a rare time you get to host a game on the road. How excited are you for this opportunity, but considering how infrequently you do this?
Yeah, I don't get to go, even when I was at TSN full time, I didn't go on the road to host broadcasts often. So very much looking forward to it. As you mentioned, I mean, the United Center has such a great atmosphere inside here.
Yes,
So
one of the
it's
best.
always been one of my favorite buildings. I'm trying to figure out right now. Oh, I was trying to figure out if I could flip my camera to show everybody because instead, so I always, when I come back to the United Center, I have a feeling of PTSD of walking on when I see the ice and I'm by the
Yeah.
Zamboni entrance where I am right now, because TSN, and I've spoken to you about this a number of times, and I might have said it on the show as well, but at TSN, when we had the national rights for playoff games, we always did interviews just before our anthem on the ice right at the red line. And so at the United Center, in order to get to
Oh yeah, it's
that
not easy.
spot, I had to walk from the Zamboni around the boards to the red line. And that in high heels and freshly cleaned ice
Yeah.
is very slippery and very
Right.
stressful. So
Yeah.
as I'm sitting here right now and I'm looking just behind the camera, I'm looking at the ice going, oh, I remember this so well of having to shuffle step and the fear of a sold out United Center watching me crumble onto the ground.
Yeah, well, that's like the shuffle of death for the assistant and the coaches from the opposing team
Yes, but
at Canada Life
they're
Center.
not in
Exactly the
heels.
same.
They are not in heels. I
Right.
just wanna point that out.
Right.
So they have more
Of course, you
surface
have to
area
better
to work
the
with.
story with your yes, I understand that. Like, I
Yes,
didn't
because
mean to
I was
knock
in
that.
heels.
Yeah.
It adds to the stress
Like, no
for it. I'm just saying.
no offense, but did you not think to not wear high heels at these moments when you did this?
No, because back in those days in,
Yeah.
2010 and stuff like that, it just wasn't
Back
even
in
up
the
for
day, yes,
back
yes,
in the day,
yes.
sneakers or something like that wasn't really a thing for
Okay, fair,
when you
fair.
did, so it was a different time, Jamie.
It was, and I'm sorry that I missed out on that. I totally forgot about the you can't wear shoes with nice clothes in the 2010s, in the early
That's right.
2010s. Yeah.
100%.
All right. So you sat down with Jonathan. We were going to play this a
Mm.
little bit later, but now that we're waiting for the news or sound to come in, we will look at like how when you sit down with Jonathan and you're going over all the ideas of how to ask things differently. Like how I thought, watching this, a lot of smiles in his face, obviously looking very forward to this. What did you take away from your sit down with Jonathan?
Yeah, I think that for sure he's looking forward to it. I think I'll be intrigued to talk to him after this game as to how
Mhm.
the emotions, because you can play things out in your mind and imagine how you're going to respond to things, but then when you're actually in the moment, sometimes obviously it's different. But I think he was very much looking forward to the opportunity to come back here, and really, why wouldn't you be? Because not only was it a place that he had so much success in and grew up and had spent his entire career in, but as mentioned too, I mean, he's playing well right now. And
Yes.
so it's not as if you're coming back and you're on, if it had happened earlier when he was playing on the fourth line and hadn't really,
Yeah.
if it was in November and December and that maybe you'd look and go, okay, is it different emotions coming back? But right now, with the way that he's playing, the way that his line's playing, how he's able to affect play and the job he's done on that power play unit as well, I think that has to add to it, I would think.
Yeah. Okay. So great stuff by this. Before we even run this, pumping your tires. I just got the JT Presser stuff. I'll download it while this is on, and then we'll get
Sure,
back to that in a second.
yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Here's the sit down with Sara Orlesky of /TSN/ True North / Winnipeg Jet.
Winnipeg, Manitoba, number 19, Jonathan Toews.
Jonathan Toews. Johnny on the spot with a backhand.
Jonathan Toews is like a computer. He knows where to be at the right time.
And Toews scores!
So I'm the type of person that plays out different scenarios always in my mind with respect to different situations. Have you played out what the scenario could be like going back to the United Center, looking up, seeing the banners, seeing the fans there?
I think we all do that a little bit. Thought about it a little bit, especially seeing when Kaner went back and he scored the overtime winner.
It's Patrick Kane in Chicago.
Oh my God!
With the overtime winner.
His first
No
game
pressure.
back. I guess not. What else is new? But either way, I'm excited to go back. It's going to be strange. Happy and sad at the same time. Obviously, life goes on, but I'm happy to be right where I am right now. And definitely very thankful for the years I got to spend there.
Yeah, what do you think the emotions are going to be like for you?
Well, I mean, I think it's the same.
How emotional do you get?
I don't know. I guess not really. I think, even my last game in Chicago, when I kind of knew that was going down, I was a little bit more emotional like throughout the day, like before the game. When the game started, it was just trying to soak it up and enjoy every minute. The send-off from the fans was completely unexpected on my end. I'm so thankful to have played in a city like that with hockey fans like that, where we won championships, and it was just exceeded so many expectations, and no one really knew how crazy it was going to be.
I was watching an old interview that you had done where you were asked to describe the 3 cup wins, and you described 2010 team as one of destiny. 2013, unstoppable. 2015, you described as resiliency as your word. Is it possible to rank Stanley Cup wins? No.
No, they're all at the top. They're all number 1,
Captain Jonathan Toews, it's your honor to hoist the Stanley Cup.
What is it that stands out to you most about your time in Chicago? I mean, you played 15 seasons there, you get named captain at 20, and you really saw that organization from, it wasn't a full building when you arrived there, to seeing it go to the ultimate heights.
Well, in a way, it was a good thing. I remember, so I was hurt the first 2 games of the season right out of my rookie season training camp, so I didn't play the first 2 games, so I watched from the stands. And there was a sold-out building against Detroit at home, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuss is all about. The building's full, but I guess I didn't realize it was mostly Red Wings fans that were there. And then I played, half a week or a week later, whatever it was, at home against San Jose, and there might have been 5,000 people in the stands. So I think it definitely helped to see it go from there to just the whole hockey scene in Chicago just take off like a rocket ship. You had some appreciation of how special it was of what you were experiencing, but as those years went along, it just became the norm to either go to the conference final or go on a deep playoff run. And I just remember the feeling, in 13 and even 2015, and just seeing the Stanley Cup on my living room table back home here in Winnipeg, and just being like, this is actually happening again. Like, this is a dream, but it almost felt normal. And then, I think you talk to guys who go their entire careers without, having a win in the playoffs, and finally they win the Stanley Cup at the end of their career. Like, obviously there's some serious contrast there. And I don't want to say that we didn't appreciate it, but it was all happening so fast too, and we just made the best of it while we could. I'll be excited to just go play and relive some of that this weekend, but also, at the end of the day, it's the old hockey interview answer is we're going in there to get 2 points, and we're trending as a team right now, so it'll be a fun one to go and get a win in that building.
Like, honestly, really good. Like, the music was really good. The shots of Chicago, I like that last scene or shot of Jonathan with his back, and it's the Jets jersey. And I do appreciate the last part of that where he says, the old hockey player answer, we're just there to get 2 points. It is the most important part. And if you could throw up the wild card standings right now, and you can see why Jonathan is focusing on this. Look, they're 7 back of a playoff spot. And I was listening to 32 Thoughts this morning with Kyle Bukauskas and Elliot Friedman. And Friedman said that a National Hockey League general manager told him the Jets are going to make the playoffs. He said, Connor Hellebuck stays healthy, they're in the playoffs for sure. So you understand the importance and magnitude of this game now, not only because it's Jonathan Toews night and returning to Chicago, but the importance of the 2 points here against the Blackhawks to keep things going and make sure you have points in 6 straight games.
Yeah, I think that, look, if he was going back to if he had played his career in the Eastern Conference and they were going to go back and play a team in the East, then I don't think that this game, it's not that it wouldn't have the significance to it in terms of that, of him returning, but it wouldn't in terms of the standings. Because yes, you're looking for every point, and Scott Arniel spoke about it, and they got the 1 point against Toronto, and you're not fighting with them for the standings, but you need 2 points. every night. Now, the fact that Chicago is in your division, they're the team that is directly ahead of you in the standings. You need to keep moving ahead. And it's funny, someone else actually had mentioned that they were pretty confident that the Jets were going to make it in as well, because they didn't have a ton of faith in the way what they'd seen from the teams that were ahead of them and believed that they could do it. It's a lot of work, but this is where a game like this tonight, you have to come in and have 2 points. That is the biggest story. And as much as everyone would love to see Toews score, you know that for him, the most important thing as well will be that this team comes out of here with the 2 points. And Chicago has struggled recently. They've lost their last 3. They have really struggled scoring. They've been outscored 12-4 in those 3 games as well. So there's a lot of pressure on both of these teams.
Yeah, and I think like that it's almost like in the right time to do it. Kevin Sawyer just texting in. He's on the bus with the coaches and Kevin shoveled day off, so he cannot phone in. So totally understandable. Maybe he was going to rip the team a new one.
I thought maybe he'd take the later bus with me, but apparently not. We're gonna have to talk to Kev about that later on.
Right, and he could have sat right beside you, and you guys could have done this simultaneous. Well, in separate seats, obviously. So, listen, we do have the video from the presser today. You tell me whenever you want me to run this, but we'll be able to throw it up at any time.
Yeah, sure. Why don't we do that again? There was about 20 media. Everyone was waiting. Everyone went out, got their shots if they were here with a camera, got their shots of Toews out for the morning skate, and then everybody went back and from the Chicago media and was working and just waiting for him to walk in. And here's just a small sample. The entire presser will be put up, which went about 10 minutes. Will be up on the Winnipeg Jets website, so you can watch it all. But here's a taste of what we heard today.
Locker room here is a picture of you lifting the Stanley Cup. What's it like for you to go into the other room for once?
Well, it hasn't changed much. I mean, I guess if you're in there sometimes for training camp and stuff. So, but yeah, it's definitely different. Just being out of the city for a while and coming back, especially there's a big Bears game last night. It's always fun to feel the energy when you come back to Chicago. So it's nice to be back.
How much are you just kind of taking everything in, from walking back into the building and practice, everything from here until tonight?
Yeah, I don't know, it's a weird situation. You don't get games like this all the time, obviously, but just trying to walk that line between, at the end of the day, you want to go out there and play well and you want to win the game, so you got to keep some level of focus and not get too distracted with all the things going on around you. But I had a nice dinner with my family and some people in town that are here to watch the game, and got to see some of the good old boys that were still hanging around from this weekend. So it was a fun night last night, and I think tonight I'll definitely be excited, a lot of energy to play the game and just try and go out there and play my best.
What's it going to be like, the reception you're going to get from the fans tonight, and you're wearing a different uniform?
Yeah, again, I think you guys probably remember my last game here in Chicago, and that was, totally unexpected and kind of blindsided me, and I'm sure I'll get the same feeling tonight, that not really sure how to receive that, but like I said, it's felt really good to come back here and see some old friends and just feel that reception once again.
You think back to your last game in Chicago, did you ever envision you to be back here in the role you're in now at that point?
No, I guess you don't think that far ahead. So even this season, I definitely had the game kind of marked down on the calendar, but you're always kind of focusing on the next game, and it kind of sneaks up on you. So here we are.
When did you find out that things were going to line up with your return and the guys being in town for the centennial celebration?
I had no idea. I actually saw Steger in Toronto probably two weeks ago, whatever it was. So we were in Toronto right after Christmas there, and he said he was going to be in town with a bunch of the guys, and I had no clue. Like, Johnny O and Host and a lot of those guys were coming in too. So it was pretty cool to see. The moment they got, and even talking with Shazi and Steger and Browse last night, all their kids are growing up now, and I think it's probably pretty cool for, their young boys and children to maybe see it secondhand when they're a little bit older, a little bit more mature, to see that, their dads are pretty cool, and they had some pretty cool moments here in Chicago. So I think it's special for them to relive that too.
How important is it for you that you're playing well coming into tonight too? I mean, Patrick Kane set the bar pretty high for these return games.
Yeah, he tends to do that, so I stopped comparing myself to him a long time ago. But yeah, like I said, it'll be cool to appreciate those moments, but at the same time, I want to go out there and play well. So got to just try and not block it out, but focus on your game and just focus on those details.
You just gotta steel yourself for that first TV timeout when you know that's where they always do it. Like you just gotta like mentally steel yourself to get it out then and just be able to focus afterward.
Yeah, I guess so. Just try not to think about that too much. It'll happen when it happens. So.
Did you ask Kane for any advice?
No, I thought about it, and then I was like, what am I calling him for advice for? So no, I'm kidding. But like I said, I'll just go out there and enjoy it tonight.
It's different now, but do you see any similarities between Bedard's situation and your situation? He's not captain yet, but similar in the expectations and the burdens he faces.
I mean, I can't compare anything that I went through to what the pressure he's been under since he was a junior hockey player. So I can't imagine. Only one guy knows what that's like, and that's him. So I mean, it's pretty incredible to see how he keeps raising his game too. And he's not even, what is he, 20 or whatever he is now, and he's been in the league for almost 3 years now. And the pressure that's on him and what he walks around with every day, it's not an easy way to grow up as a young man, but from afar, it looks like he's doing a heck of a job.
All right, that's just a small part of the media availability that Jonathan Toews had at the United Center in Chicago. Sara Lesky has been so kind to hang in there with us as long as she can. She's getting really close to the bus that is departing here momentarily from back to the hotel so she can get ready for the big game at the United Center coming up tonight at 7:30.
It was more so that I was concerned because I'm standing in the Zamboni entrance right now, and so every time it goes by,
go on the ice.
Is it about
go
to
on the
come
ice.
off?
Do it. Just show us the tour. Do the ice run.
Remember years ago when I want to say it was maybe a CBC game in Scott Oak. The Zamboni was right up, nudged beside him. That's what I'm envisioning right now happening with me. But it should be a great game here tonight. The lines. Have we looked at projected line gap?
We have not. No, actually, we were saving the best for last year outside of course, JT sit down. Here's your projected lines. Nothing really has changed, if anything at all. Don't touch my third line and stay there again. Really and seriously, outside of a couple of blips and hiccups in the third period, the Jets played well against the Toronto Maple Leafs. That was a highly entertaining hockey game. Josh Morrissey talked about it afterwards. Whenever the Leafs fans, the electricity inside the building, and of course it being Hockey Day in Canada, it was a great game. Wrong result, but they played very well. So no changes to the lineup. Connor Hellebuck will get the start. Elias Salamonson remains with Dylan Sandberg on the second defense pairing, and Stanley and Shen. So I feel like this is just, I asked you to go on the ice, and someone says Jamie just really wants to see Sara wipe out on the ice.
Let's be honest. That is exactly what that request is for.
But could you imagine?
You're not fooling anybody.
We would go viral.
We would go viral.
And that's really what matters.
The problem is
nowadays.
we wouldn't go viral. I would go viral.
No. It's a show together, checking with Sara Lesky and Jamie Thomas. So we would go viral because I was the one that told you they would show the video of me going, please do the walk on the ice, Sara. And then you wipe out. And then it becomes a we go viral thing. So,
well, we will have to come up with an idea for you as well.
Here's the thing. I would gladly wipe out on the ice.
It's true. You would.
For clicks, I would. And I do it in high heels too. I would do it in high heels.
Well, there we go. You know what? We have, thankfully, we have an arena and we have a game tomorrow. So I'm just saying.
I'll think about it. If Jonathan Toews scores a hat trick tonight, I will walk on the ice in heels, in your shoes.
All right.
I will walk a mile in your shoes.
For it. It's about time. It's about time, JT.
Okay. So Winnipeg Sports Talk is coming up here as we go further. Sara, thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad you really took your time and gave me 5 whole minutes by myself.
Yes. And although thankfully I'll be back tomorrow to keep you in line and to show you that, a rundown is there for a reason.
Yeah.
So we can just check off all of the boxes.
I didn't get the rundown. I'm trying to look. Nope, not my email box.
No. Yeah.
Didn't make
Is
it.
it directly to the left of you right now? Is that what I'm seeing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Just game notes there. Those game notes. I hope you're having a great time in Chicago. Thanks so much. I know it's
you know what it is.
right.
It is very chilly here, but it should be a great atmosphere. It is a 7:30 start. Make note, because even some of our production crew goes, okay, well the pregame show at 6:30, and I said, well, then we're in trouble because we don't have an hour pregame show. So it is a 7 p.m. pregame show on TSN 3. And then, of course, we'll have the broadcast afterwards, Dan and Kevin, as always, with the calls. So looking forward to a great one here tonight. And I am sorry that everything was running late today, so I was not able to join you the same way that I usually would.
No, I think it was more effective, actually.
Yeah, it probably was.
Popping in halfway through the show is like great. It works. It worked really well.
All right.
All right, everybody.
Stay out of trouble.
I will for sure. Are you coming back? Do I have the show to myself tomorrow?
I don't know. You might. We'll see.
By the way, Kevin Starr promised to come on the show tomorrow, and Emily Kaplan from ESPN is going to join us as well.
Fantastic.
So big show planned for the game against the Blues, but who cares about that game right now? It's JT back in Chicago on TSN, CJOB, and Power 97. Make sure you check it out a little bit later tonight.
All right. Points and 5 straight for the Jets. We'll see if they can continue it on tonight. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for checking in. Stay warm out there.